Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's going to be WickedBot taking on Caninana, a very, very good Zerg bot that I haven't cast enough of recently. I don't think I've cast it since I got back from my little break, and so I'm very excited to see how it's doing. Probably stable as always, if I had to guess. That's one of the very impressive things about Caninana. It doesn't receive too many updates these days, but it still performs incredibly well. And yes, let's see how WickedBot is going to rise to the challenge. When you think of Caninana, you think of, oh dear gosh, don't let it get to the late game, as the late game is where Caninana really excels. And I think it's safe to say that WickedBot probably hasn't had that much work put into the late game. So I think we're really going to be hoping for a strong mid game from WickedBot, show off its fancy bio footwork, that kind of thing. And so, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this match, go ahead, click that like button. If we can get 84 likes on this video for 84-second Zerglings, that would be amazing. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. And then subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to the channel. I'll say that again because I know it's easy to block things out. Subscribe if you're not already and you've watched some of these videos. And yeah, big thanks to everyone that does support the channel via the YouTube membership program. We don't have a patron or anything like that, but yeah, just big thanks to everyone who does support that, and I appreciate you all. Enough of that, though, as we do see the first blood potentially coming down the line as a Zergling goes for the mad dash into the base of WickedBot. The Marine pops into the bunker, the depot gets raised, and so Caninana is officially at -1 Zergling due to, well, just sending it into scout. That is something that Caninana does very, very well. It just consistently sends in one Zergling into the enemy base to just constantly update that scouting information, because Caninana is one of the best Zerg bots out there as far as adapting its playstyle to what its opponent is doing, it seems. And yeah, we'll see. It's just interesting because that's one of the decisions you have to make as a bot author. Like, okay, is my bot going to be reactive, which is definitely a big undertaking? And then if it's going to be reactive, what sort of information are we going to be reactive on? And how are we going to collect that information? Every race has different ways to go about that. Zerg has Overseers and Zerglings as the best scouting units, really. So, yes, Caninana just keeping an eye on its opponent, running in those Zerglings nonstop. So far, 2 have gone down, and then there goes number 3. As it does like to just really scout out what its opponent's doing. And it definitely does have a cost. The frequency of this is interesting. Like, one Ling dies, and then another one goes out instantly. So it goes to show the bot author's philosophy, which is pretty much never be surprised. Consistently have a count on how much stuff the opponent has. Be looking for tech. I do wonder, it's like, maybe that could be dialed back a little bit, because like this Zergling dies, there's going to be another one on the way out, I bet. There he goes, the next sacrifice. And yeah, like that's pretty much a scout every, what, I don't know, 10 seconds or something like that. Maybe 10, 15 seconds. It's like, that's very good, but it does have a slight cost to it. Like, so far it's lost 2 drones worth of Lings, which I guess isn't that much, but every little bit matters in StarCraft 2. So it is worth discussing things like that. And that's one of the very beautiful things about this game. As even pro gamers, they'll discuss and have different takes on like little things like, oh, what time do you probe scout? How many workers do you pull against a proxy hatchery? As everything has impacts on your economy. Now, we do have WickedBot doing its thing, just building up to a third base. Caninana has been scouting out WickedBot, so it's probably got some idea that this attack is coming, as it does have that Zergling trying to get into the base, seeing the bio. But yes, Caninana does already have a fourth base on the way. It's at 42 drones, so it's got a decent economy in the sense that, or it's in a decent enough place that Caninana can either make a bunch of units or it can really go hard into the economy. For now, it is just making a few drones, making a few more Zerglings, quite a few actually. But then we do have some roaches out and more on the way, which could be very important to defending against this from WickedBot. Overseers are now keeping eyes on the opponent's army, as the Zerglings and Roaches are debating whether to go in for this fight. A bit of incomplete information, though, I guess, as Caninana does do a little bit of flip-flopping there. Scouting Ling does pull some of WickedBot's units back. Queens and Roaches, though, can trade pretty well against Marines that do not have combat shield yet, particularly once they've stimmed and really softened themselves up. The Lings didn't amount to much, though. The Lings were basically free, but here's a big problem for WickedBot. Caninana with the burrowed Roaches. This is something we almost take for granted in bot games, but for those of you that don't know, these StarCraft 2 bots, when they go ahead and with their unlimited APM, it's fairly straightforward to program a unit to burrow when it's at a low HP threshold. And then Roaches, with their unique behavior, they can actually regenerate a lot of HP, and that makes them incredibly efficient. Okay, so we do have WickedBot loading up a couple medivacs, maybe going for a drop. It does go for a scan and tries cleaning up a bit of creep, a little bit of derpage, though. This is one of the things that you have to try and account for as best as you can as a bot author, is just your opponent's units constantly poking and prodding you. And so we do seem to have the Overseers maybe messing with WickedBot a little bit. An attempted drop onto the creep is not going to be too successful in this one, I don't think. Maybe gets a couple of creep tumors or something like that. We do have a bit of multi-prong harassment going on for WickedBot. Poking to the left, poking to the front. The drop to the front does get shut down. And yeah, I don't think Caninana's in very much danger at all right now. The Zergbot is on 4 bases, 49 drones. WickedBot does have a nice economic lead, though, with 59 SCVs on 3 bases. We'll definitely keep our eye out to see whether we're going to get a 4th base or not. Now, the scans definitely does use some of the money that the Terran would normally get from mules, but it is good to see that WickedBot is using those scans fairly regularly, as you can't really beat a burrowed Roach Zerg without some sort of detection behavior. And that is one of the big hurdles when it comes to programming a bot. Now we do have Caninana maybe trying to get a bit aggressive, going for a counterattack towards the 3rd base of WickedBot. WickedBot just doesn't have that much supply since it's been investing a lot into its economy. The bunker will not last all that long as Caninana basically guts the 3rd base of WickedBot. There's a decent arc on the bio. 1-1 upgrades is done for the bio, so it's an upgrade lead. But man, oh man, there's a lot of Zerg here. And Caninana definitely got some good damage done there, going from a worker deficit to a solid worker lead with all the damage it got done. Does WickedBot have out a Raven or anything like that? No, it doesn't. I think a Raven would really help in this situation to help deal with the burrowed Zerg units. Otherwise, it will have to keep burning those scans. We do have a 4th command center on the way for WickedBot, so there is potential for it to come back economically here, but Caninana is in a really commanding position at this point, and WickedBot is going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat. Now, WickedBot does do very well with its trades when it's sort of just poking on the front lines and skirmishing nonstop, and that's going to be quite effective here now that WickedBot is reaching 2-2 upgrades. Caninana literally is just going to have attack upgrades. 1-1 attack upgrades for its Roaches and Lings. No armor present, so if WickedBot does initiate some fights fairly soon, that could be very good for it. We do have the 4th base being blocked, though, by a Zergling. I'm not sure we've seen WickedBot come up against this obstacle too many times, so we'll see if it does actually scan to kill that Zergling, or it may just be on 3 bases forever. as this is another one of the big problems you have to deal with as a bot author, is those burrowed lings. Which I think is why we do see a lot of bot authors these days go for a preemptive cleanup on those bases, send a couple units, send a detector to a base prior to the base getting there, so you kind of ensure that it's never really blocked. Now we do get a scan from WickedBot, however it is doing a bit of miss micro there, unloading some units into the very, very hot zone, so lots of units going down. WickedBot is still pumping out as much bio as it can on these 3 bases. No 4th base yet. It looks like it is attempting to build a new base. However, now creep is spreading onto the door of that 4th. We do have a big attack from Caninana. There's plenty of medivacs to heal up this bio unit. Not that many bio units in total. 10 medivacs for 10 marauders is not bad. At some point, the base actually does get landed. I'm not sure if it was because of a scan, because of the creep, but that base actually goes down. I'm actually going to rewind for a second there. My apologies. I do like to see these kind of things. Was this scan literally just because of this creep tumor? And was it a happy little accident? So at some point we get a scan and this burrowed zergling dies. Okay. I mean, that was kind of on the location of the base, like it wasn't dead center or anything. So I don't actually know if that was a happy little accident because of the creep tumor or because WickedBot's actually programmed to clean those up. We'll definitely pay more attention to it because it's a very difficult problem to solve, so it's very cool to see how each bot author does handle that. And sometimes it doesn't get programmed in by bot authors. Sometimes we do have happy little accidents like that, but I'm not actually sure if that was an accident or just good behavior from WickedBot, as it definitely has scan behavior to reveal units and creep tumors, but as far as dealing with like a single burrowed zergling, like we do get a scan there. Sometimes the scans for WickedBot are a little odd. Dropping a scan while it's got no units on the ground in that location is a bit bizarre. Creep tumor does get cleaned on up. The creep, though, is definitely at the door of this Terran bot, as we do have, yeah, just 2 main creep highways, one pushing towards the 3rd, one pushing towards the 4th. WickedBot is happily mining on 4 bases, looking to even get up a 5th base, which will be very tricky. Supply is currently climbing for the Terran, but it's quite scary as Caninana is maxed out. And I was talking about that late game. We are now getting out Infestors, and man, oh man, Infestors are phenomenal against Terran bio units. Fungals can be incredibly powerful. WickedBot's doing a good job on the defense, just constantly pulling back, using the high range of the Marauders to take what is pretty good trades. The upgrade lead is still very real. Now it's going to be 2-2, or, well, it's 3-3 now against 2-1. And we are getting ghosts out from WickedBot, which is cool to see. Another base is floating over here. We'll see if this one does ever get taken. WickedBot is still moving around with its bio, actually pushing out a little bit now that its supply is climbing. Caninana may be looking to slap that down, though, and I do worry a little bit about these medivacs potentially trying to evacuate units and causing more harm than good. But yeah, still good move out from WickedBot, cleaning out some more of this creep. Yet another scan goes down. It is very, very scan happy, and oh, it actually did clear it out. So, okay, pardon me. I'm gonna rewind. Okay, fast forward a little bit. Okay, the Zergling just unburrowed for some reason and left. Not sure what that one was about, but that worked out very well in WickedBot's favor. We will not get an answer to that question. We do have a very interesting pocket location here for a WickedBot. Just building a new base that will eventually be at 6. But yeah, the fact that that Ling unburrowed is quite bizarre. I'm wondering if that was because there was like a scan nearby or something, or what. I do not know. Maybe it's because Caninana was thinking of expanding to that location, and so it was clearing it out. That could be a possibility. It's difficult to say, but that was very good for WickedBot as it's able to keep its economy going. We do have the bio constantly skirmishing, clearly skirmishing a lot, as these Marauders are very in the red. Nice fungal growths going down, catching some more of this bio, and WickedBot may have overextended a little bit. We even get a neural parasite on the ghost by the Infestor. That is very cool. Corruptors now causing problems for WickedBot, able to potentially pick off some of these medivacs. The Marauders are so overstimmed. as these trades just continuously go on the bio, trying to hold on to the top of that ramp. However, then poking down once more, WickedBot is still in the right to keep trying to trade here, as it does still have that 3-3, and it will have an upgrade lead up until Caninana is done that +3 Carapace. Now, things are going to start getting a little bit scary for the Terran bot, though, as Caninana is firing up its first Broodlord. And now Broodlords just destroy bio. The units just cannot really engage with Broodlings that easily. And that makes me a little bit worried. Ghosts, of course, can kind of deal with Broodlords, but it's very situational. And we haven't really seen much of that from these StarCraft 2 bots. Now, let's see. WickedBot still getting up more production. We do have a fusion core on the way, potentially for a bit of a transition, or maybe just a Medivac upgrade. Well, I believe it is that... what is it? Ignite Afterburners? Is that in the fusion core now? Man, I definitely need to brush up on my StarCraft 2 upgrades and current stats these days. Now, we do have WickedBot moving out. It does have a Marine engaging these Overseers, and there we go. We do actually get a scan drop to clean up the creep at this base, which is very good to see, as WickedBot is attempting to take a base that is rightfully its own. Just non-stop trading out with Caninana. Resources lost is neck and neck right now, just about 14,000 each. The Broodlords could very well change that. WickedBot is just pumping out as much bio as possible. It's gotten more of an income than Caninana, and we have seen in the past that bots just purely with more income can overcome an opponent, even if the opponent is trading slightly more efficiently. We do get that. CADUCEUS reactor, pardon me. That's the one. Medivac energy regen. Very cool to see that the bot author has put in that work. I don't think we're going to see any battle cruisers that is specifically just to buff the bio of WickedBot, which is very important because this bio is actually stimming just non-stop. We do get another neural parasite on a ghost that is going to go down. And then the bio just running around just all over the place still. The Broodlords are causing problems. Caninana is up to 6, going up to 7 right now. And I think they will eventually be able to whittle down WickedBot because they just have literally no answer. They get incredible efficiency. I'm not sure we'll see any of them die this game. So unless WickedBot can win in some other way, things are going to be problematic. That Medivac upgrade will help out to help these Medivacs try and keep the bio a little bit healthier, maybe absorb some more of that Broodlord damage, absorb more of the fungal damage. But for now, WickedBot is struggling to maintain supply. Caninana is building up a bank as it's not losing as many units as it was before. The WickedBot still unable to secure up the 6 base as well, which is problematic. And for now, things are looking mighty fine for Caninana. Ghost snipes going down against some of these units, but not really getting the Broodlords. And yeah, this is exactly what happens. Broodlords are a very difficult unit to program against. They require decisive action, which is not something that human bots do. Looks like, are these guys actually stuck in here? I think these Marines may be stuck in this pocket, as they're trying to build a reactor there. Either that or they just like hanging out. But for now, Caninana is bringing down the hammer on WickedBot, currently up to 9 Broodlords, going up to 10, 11. This is the very cool thing about Caninana. Like, if it's not just a bot that'll make just like 3 Broodlords and say that's the amount I'm programmed to make. No, it's building them because it's still good for it to build them. I imagine it would maybe abandon the Broodlords if it was up against mass Vikings or something like that. But I do think that WickedBot is kind of just being whittled down here, unfortunately, for the Terran bot, but a very good showing against a very good bot like Caninana. Cool trades non-stop. We are getting 5 ghosts built at a time. Then, I mean, there's the bunkers trying to hold the line. All these Marines caught in this little pocket is not optimal. But holy cow, that is a lot of Broodlords. And yes. Yeah, it's a very good showing from WickedBot. Yeah, just unfortunately, it doesn't quite have that next step. StarCraft 2 is a game that's got multiple steps sort of in every matchup. It's like you get the early, the mid, the late game. With Zerg late game tends to come the Broodlords, and that's why you need to have Vikings or Ghosts or Thors to deal with them, or some other kind of plan. Because for now, against WickedBot, the presence of just even a few Broodlords kind of sets it on an unwinnable path. And that's just programming challenges you have to try and handle. I'm not sure how WickedBot would be able to handle something like this, as like broodlords are difficult for humans to deal with, let alone bot authors who have to program to try and handle every situation. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you've watched until this point in the video, click that like button, leave a comment down below, subscribe. Did I say at the start of the video, more bots? Yes, more bots. As, yes, we want to spread the good word of the bots. If you're wondering why I've cast a lot of WickedBot game replays lately, it's because the bot author sent in some replays in the Interesting Replays Discord channel. And so if there is any bots you want to see, or you're a bot author and you want your game casted, go ahead and send some replays my way. And yes, let's just watch the cleanup happen in this one. The scans from WickedBot definitely are interesting. Okay, that one on the Infestor makes sense. GG.